If you didn't already know, TAG Heuer is the official watch of Manchester United. It's fitting really. Used to be considered great way back when, largely exists in the modern age as a marketing machine, and lusted after by your cousin, even though they're from Milton Keynes. I get it, really, I do. But sometimes, in those rare moments when the laughter stops, you find yourself actually feeling sorry for Manchester United. A once unstoppable giant, now falling asleep at the wheel and driving straight into a lay-by, jolted back awake in rare moments by resurrecting its past glories. It makes you kind of nostalgic for the time you had a begrudging respect for them. Then you remember they still have an official electric styling partner and the laughter starts again. Nods to TAG Heuer's past glories would almost certainly include the likes of the Altavia chronograph and the Monaco, racing watches that have, pun very much intended, stood the test of time. And so to the Aqua Racer, and where does this sit in the TAG Heuer canon? At a glance, it looks like a watch from a different brand altogether. While the Altavia feels like the effortlessly efficient Dennis Law, the Aqua Racer is a law unto itself. A blocky, angular stainless steel bezel with a mix of brushed and polished facets, two-tone lume that was inspired by a 72-hour speed binge in Hamburg, and splashes of yellow on the dial reminiscent of the jaundice that inevitably followed that ill-fated German city break. For all that this watch might not share Heuer's racing DNA, barring the nod to it in the name, it has something that I can't help but find endearing. I'll put the specs up on screen now. And it may well be those specs that have me purring like the Old Trafford faithful did in, well, 1999. This is the 41mm variant as opposed to the 43mm, and you can really notice the difference that 2mm makes. If I had £1 for every time I've said that. Coupled with the female end links and the 46mm lug-to-lug measurement, it means the head of the watch sits comfortably even on my more diminutive wrist, and the bracelet drapes immediately, conforming to your wrist as it does so. And unlike post-Fergie Manchester United, the finishing here is actually pretty decent, if not remarkable. It's all brushed except for those jutting blocks on the bezel. Simply put, it does the job. In a United context, it's Scott McTominay. And whilst that dial might be a bit too in your face for something that is supposed to be a diver's watch, a tool watch, the plank effect really plays with the light and reminds me of the Omega Aquarcer, which is high praise indeed. Likewise the date magnifier, which one can't help but always compare to that of the Rolex Submariner. A nice touch here is that on the 1st and 11th of each month, the one numerals are ever so slightly different, sloping to points that you won't find on any other of the dates. I know, but it's the little things, right? The Cyclops does a stellar job, a rarity in a world of Pagani design and Chronos watches that can give you a migraine if you look at them for too long. To be fair, this is a great deal more expensive than those watches, which might be why people can enjoy bashing TAG Heuer. Bash the Aqua Racer, however, and there's a plastic movement keeper to hold it all together. Yep, I said it, plastic. I know. Nearly £2,000 and they can't even manage to provide a decent bit of metal. It's like buying tickets to Metallica after the Saint Anger album. Saying that, I can forgive it as it would only add more heft to what is a pretty heavy watch. And it's heavy despite the impressive 12mm thickness, or thinness, as the case may be. And thanks to a screw-down crown with impressive action and knurling, the Aqua Racer has a formidable 300 metres of water resistance. So no worries if you do find yourself with no sporting director and you're struggling to stay afloat. Yeah, okay, the Man United stuff has probably run its course. The Caliber 5 movement is just a rebranded ETA 2824-2, a venerable movement in many Swiss entry-level pieces, but one that's a little uninspiring these days, given there are movements with longer power reserves out there. And 50 to 70 hours seems to be becoming the standard for brands like Tudor and Omega. Look, you'd expect the official timekeeper of Manchester United to have a few extra minutes in the back pocket, just in case things didn't go its way. This is running at an acceptable rate, albeit with a beat error I wouldn't be over the moon about, but it's generally consistent and is about what you'd expect for an unregulated movement like this. Also on the underwhelming side, the clasp. It reminds me of my first Seiko. It rattles and it moves, and it just generally doesn't have the tolerances you'd expect in a watch costing this much money. And can we all agree this type of diver's extension is just, well, shit? If you're hearing that and saying, but it's to go around a wetsuit, then you've clearly met more people than I have that have bought a TAG Heuer to take diving. Maybe they're not sought after by the diving community because of this bezel. This thing moves without you even wanting it to, it's so light. And if there was any more bounce in this thing, I'd be hiring it out for kids' parties. It's light, I tell you. No respect at all. An unexpected bright spot for me was the Lume. Get it? Bright spot? Fuck, kill me. Loads of watch reviewers say this, and I'm never quite sure why. Nevertheless, here goes. You'll have no trouble telling the time in the middle of the night with this thing. Basically, the Lume is excellent, but why people who like watches are constantly getting up in the night and depending on their dive watch to act like some sort of adult nightlight is beyond me. Maybe because they've just dropped the sort of money on a watch that would almost certainly be spent more sensibly elsewhere. But we're not sensible people. We're Roy Keane, we're David Gill, we're Ed Woodward. So even if the only person admiring your watch is your cousin, who, by the way, just got a very swish looking TAG Heuer watch for his 21st of anti-Maureen, that shouldn't be a deterrent. The Aqua Racer might not be the 2008 Champions League final, or even the 2004 FA Cup final, but it's perhaps Jose Mourinho's 2017 Community Shield win. It's a one-off, and one with an underrated, fun appeal. Sure, you might not tell your enthusiast friends about it, but to the kids online playing FIFA, one of whom has just said some pretty unspeakable things about your mum, it's actually pretty cool. What do you think of the TAG Heuer Aqua Racer? Let me know down in the comments. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so and hit the bell icon if you want to be notified every time I upload. I promise next time it won't be so football focused. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.